Okay. Hi and welcome to the cert-manager dev bi-weekly meeting. This is Thursday, 13th of June 2024. And as part of the CNCF, we follow the CNCF Code of Conduct. Let's be nice with each other. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube once it's available. As we said previously, go to the agenda if you have anything to add to it. You can edit if you are in the cert-manager dev Google group. You can add yourself there to edit the document. Now, if there are any newcomers and they want to introduce themselves, please do. I'll pause for a few seconds. No one.
I think that's me. Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Please go ahead if you like.
Hello, hey everyone. I don't know, but I've been here a couple of times before. But I'm Sankalp. I'm basically like I'm like in my organization. I'm very close to the cert-manager project, uh, and I'm trying to contribute back because that's an amazing product that we are using, and we want to just enhance the features or some things that would help us as well.
Ah, very nice. Welcome. Where are
Thank
you
you.
located? Based?
I'm based out of India, so it's around 9:30 p.m.
9:30.
Yeah.
Nice. Early in the day. Uh, so today we'll start with some announcements. One of them is very important, and continue with the items in the agenda. Welcome to the newcomers, to the new people coming to the joining. Hi, Peter. Should I do the announcements? I guess I will. cert-manager 115 has been released, but I'm not the one who released it, so I don't know the highlights. Does anyone, Adam or Tim or Peter or whoever, does anyone want to say a few words?
Uh, I can. I did the release, so I know the contents of it. The biggest theme of the release, I think, is promoting things and enabling by the default. So in this release, we've promoted gateway API support, literal certificate subject, and additional certificate output formats to be enabled by default. So these are now fully endorsed and features that we're happy to be out in the wild and hopefully progressing to stable in the near future. Yeah, so that was the main feature. I think other than that, we've got lots of fun things like improvements to our Helm chart to make it nice, much more user friendly for people. But yeah, it's mainly promoting things, which is always good.
One little addition, because I think it's really good. But we standardized a little, but we've added the option to the Helm chart to standardize how we install PRDs, which is consistent across projects. I think that's right, isn't it, Tim? So it used to be install CRDs in the Server Manager project. That's still there, still works. Important to note. But there is now a CRDs block with CRDs enabled, and CRDs keep two key flags in there. So I think it's worth shouting out. Just if you have Helm and you have values set up, you might want to change those over.
Yeah. And also it does a nice thing of by default it won't nuke the CRDs on uninstall, so you can now uninstall and reinstall without fear that you're going to lose all your certificate objects, unless you want to lose all certificate objects, in which case you can set keep to false. So you have the option to do a safe reinstall.
It's a bit of a brick change, but we thought it was worth it since we don't want people to accidentally uninstall all the CRDs and therefore also uninstall all the custom resources. So yeah, that's now enabled by default, trying to make the life of our users a bit easier. Also, maybe a small sneak peek into the next version of cert-manager. We are looking at adding JSON schema validation to all the Helm values. So that's already interesting. We haven't yet created an alpha release for cert-manager 1.16 since we just released 1.15, but that will be in the next version. And that's actually already available in some of our other projects like Trust Manager and Approved Policy.
That might be a breaking change. By the way, I'm thinking like I have some Helm chart Helm values files that aren't correct, and I'm sure if I start using 1.16, it's going to break.
Well, it sounds like we've got ourselves a volunteer guinea pig for our new JSON schema then.
I don't know. Okay. But it's
Also,
a great
very-
idea. Like I didn't know this was happening.
Yes, it is happening. We believe that if you have a value that doesn't match one of the values that we're actually using in the Helm chart, it's probably an error and you probably want to correct it. It's not that this will like break your environment or something, but it might cause an installation that was succeeding before to fail now. So there is indeed a bit of a challenge there that I think we might have to we need some feedback for that, but I think that will come with the first alpha release that we do.
Great. Oh, go ahead.
Last one. This is the release where the CMCTL binaries are now out completely of the repo. So if you're using CMCTL or the Kubernetes cert-manager thing plugin, this is the release where they're no longer in repo. There's a new repo, cert-managers are CMCTL, that you can get them from.
And you can even go install it if you like. Which wasn't possible before.
Indeed, it should be very easy to install. There's a PR to also update the crew plugin, but that hasn't yet fully completed. But here are already some installation options. It's just a copy of what's on the website actually. This is how to install it now.
Okay, so moving on to the agenda items. I see we have 2 of them. And do we have the person who wrote these? Sri Sankalp? Yes. Oh, you're muted. Still
Hey.
muted. Yeah.
Yep, thank you. So it's about being able to it's a feature for the Venafi Issuer component of cert-manager, and first I'm talking about the issue 2178. So the ask here is to be able to handle unregistered certificates from a Venafi TPP. So right now, it's like if I create a cluster, right, and then create a bunch of certificates and then say delete the cluster, or even at least uninstall cert-manager, or even if I delete the certificate resources themselves, it would still leave lots of certificates in Venafi in enabled state. And that results, Venafi has lots of automations in the backend that run based on the certificate state, if it's enabled or disabled. So I think having this addressed, wherein if a certificate resource is deleted, then if it's possible to disable the certificate in Venafi TPP, then it would be a boon for anyone who's trying to housekeep the certificates. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And if possible, I want to get this issue assigned to me because the current person, Sweden Raj, and I are working on it together, and I'm planning to submit a pull request for the changes. That's one ask, and yeah, can I go?
Oh, it's funny because someone asked me whether the Venafi issuer does this today. I said, no, it
Oh,
doesn't. It doesn't delete, or
yeah,
it doesn't retire, or it doesn't revoke, or it doesn't do anything.
yeah, exactly. Correct.
Uh,
So,
there is maybe one thing that you will. I don't know if you saw, but the prow tests for TPP, the TPP instance is only, or it is hosted in the Venafi, my employer's infrastructure.
mhm, got it.
So I guess we can, you can run the prow tests right now, no problem. It should run fine.
Mhm.
Uh, but if you need extra changes, which will probably need to happen in TPP, like in the TPP testing instance,
Mhm.
then we can work on that together.
Got it. I think I'm good in that space. So thanks for asking. So, like, I'm having some things set up in the dev environment for the TPP. So I can use that if I want to go and check something from the backend. Uh, like actually, the main reason, like I wanted to get some suggestions or some thoughts on how this can be done. Uh, so like the core code is like it's pretty straightforward. Uh, and the idea is instead of deleting the certificates, we can like retire the certificates. So if we retire the certificates, all of the Venafi processing would be disabled for that certificate. Uh, so if we go down that route, then we can do it in two ways. One would be having it as a Helm chart option, like Boolean return true or false, that can be set on the controller to handle these resources. That's one option. And another option would be to
Let's
and the
continue.
second one would be to have the issuer, right, have a field like
Yeah.
which would be like retire certs true or false, right? So I just wanted to get some thoughts on this. Like I'm thinking that retire certs would be an easier approach or non-intrusive, but it would involve having an additional field on the CRD.
Oh,
Any
Peter is
thoughts on that?
dying to give some thoughts. I can tell.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for bringing this up because I didn't realize there was an issue for this. I about half an hour ago had a conversation on this very topic with someone very different, exactly the same idea. Is that you delete a certain cluster, you want to do something in TPP to um, reconcile that difference.
Mhm.
It- you obviously already have TPP. Um,
Yes.
I find it difficult mixing closed source and open source, but I'll just put it out there that there are options for this in the closed source with Venafi. If you're not aware, you might want to have a look at those anyway.
Mhm.
But just get that bit out of the way.
Mhm.
But yeah, otherwise, I guess my question would be it obviously would be awesome and it'd be beneficial for a lot of customers, not just yourself who use
Mhm.
TPP. How would this apply? Would this apply exclusively to Venafi issuers, or if we did this in the Venafi issuer, in the not the Venafi issuer, in the issuer of type Venafi, would we also want to do this in issuers of other types? Because we have Vault. I don't know if this applies to CA, self-sign, whatever, but yeah, we have Vault and Acme,
Yeah.
right? Acme's the other thing that
Yeah.
I
You
don't
can
don't think Acme has
encrypt it.
anything on that.
Yeah. So actually, currently I'm just looking at the issue for TPP, but and like there's a challenge on setting up Vault and Acme CA as well on my side. So, but like based on how the community wants this, right? Like if it could be good to go for all the issues. Like another thing to consider is basically this removal of or doing something when the certificate is deleted. That would need additional functions on the issuer. And if that is the case, then the issuer interface would have to be modified to handle this, like the deletion, right? So, and when that happens, then it will have anyway, like what I'm seeing is anyway, it would result in having some dummy functions in all of the issuers. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if that's not how, like if there's a better way of doing it, but I'm seeing that the methods would eventually creep into other issuers as well. Any thoughts on it?
Uh,
Is that okay?
the way you described, definitely, yeah, it would be dummy. If that's the question, yes. Well, so Peter was asking if we would also try in other issuers to do the same thing. But your answer is good. Like you want to focus on TPP. That's totally fine.
I think the challenge with this is that right now issuers, they have no notion of certificate resources. So the only thing they know is certificate request resources.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Also, it's kind of hard to fully determine when a certificate is created and when it is removed. Like sometimes there might be like a mutation to a certificate. Does that mean that it is removed? Otherwise, other times it might be like a rename of the certificate, and that might mean that maybe it's still the same certificate, but it's just another name in Kubernetes. So I think if you look at the issue itself, what was proposed there is to introduce this Venafi certificates resource. I think
Okay.
technically that makes sense, because what you do then is you basically create something outside of cert-manager where this super resource basically manages a certificate resource that is like a cert-manager type. And then when the super resource is removed, that's when you trigger like Venafi specific logic. So that way you can kind of wrap what cert-manager is doing, and you can make it work just for Venafi. Otherwise, it will be very hard, I think, to implement this if you want to stay vendor neutral within cert-manager.
Makes sense. Like that would be a separate CRD, and it would have its own controller with some linking that happens on the back end to clean up when the certificate of which is issued by Venafi would be deleted. Am I right?
Yeah.
In understanding? Okay.
But it's also like you can do certain things, but you also cannot do everything for sure. Like you can not revoke a certificate, I think, because if you revoke it, it might still be used in some kind of cache somewhere. So if you revoke it, quite dangerous. I think that's also one of the things that's said in this thread.
Exactly,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. And that's the reason, like, I was thinking we can do a retire of certificate. I think that should address majority of the users' use cases is what my understanding is based on the comments. Is to retire a cert instead of revoking it.
Well, Tim, you made a point. You said that issuers, the scope of issuers doesn't really fit because issuers are certificate requests only. So implementing this as an issuer it's weird. It feels weird. But we could it we can say it's we can expand the scope of issuers, I guess. I don't know.
So like I've spent some time in writing some code for this one, and like I think working out of certificate request also like it's a possible solution. Like it's feasible in all means, but is it the right way is what I'd like to know. So, but yeah, like basically if like anything, if the certificate resource, sorry, if the certificate request resource is removed, then we can figure off that reconciliation based on the certificate request the link that has that basically denotes that the certificate request is coming from this issuer, right? In this case, it's Venafi. I think that's the only link present. So I'm thinking we can work out of certificate request object as well. And like I've had it working, like I in my setup. So if that's okay, then I mean we'll have to follow this for anything that comes up for other future issuers as well, right? So just want to think it through. But as long as like whenever we create a certificate, I think most of the cases we do have a certificate request object that's always lying around in the namespace. And if I'm not wrong, when the certificate is deleted, the certificate request resource is also deleted. Yeah, I'd like to know the experts.
But you can have
Correct.
multiple certificate requests for one certificate resource. So, and also even the certificate request could be removed and your application might still work since there's still like a secret that has the certificate, the issued certificate in it. So I wouldn't start from certificate request. I would start from a super type of the certificate. I think that's the cleanest way to solve this.
Yeah, it's cleaner, but it doesn't solve everybody's problem. Like, introducing a new the community has a certificate resource is what the ecosystem is using. Adding a new CRD, a custom resource, shifts a bit. Probably people using this are using certificates, and probably they're using, I don't know what they're using. I don't know. Feels like it's a technical problem that we're trying to fix with a new CRD.
Correct.
I want to understand. I want to exactly understand why this CRD would be required, and not because because it's a bit better design, but because there are technical challenges that need to be solved with it.
Maybe if you add like a finalizer on this existing certificate, that could also work. I think that's actually what this.
Yeah, that's exactly this other person did.
Venafi cleanup Kubernetes operator.
Yeah.
I guess
that's what the finalizer's for. Yeah, you can block it and then solution.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. And in terms of the code layout or the package layout for the finalizers, I would require some help on where we can have it. Like if there's any existing code base for other controllers, right? In terms of because this finalizer, again, if it is written for a certificate resource, then it needs to be a generic one, right? Similar to how we have the generic issuer that maps to all the certificate requests. I think this is the finalizer piece of code.
But I wonder, Tim, what's wrong with adding finalizers to certificate requests, and then you can retire a certificate, or you can retire a specific version of the certificate. The whatever certificate was issued by Venafi and stored in this certificate request, and then you would cater to the non-certificate issuers like CSI driver and so on.
I'm not sure if like cert-manager can handle finalizers on the certificate request. Maybe it can. Maybe it would work. I
Like
don't know.
you would add the finalizer as soon as a certificate request. You could do this as an outside controller for an experiment. I would definitely reuse this code, but change the certificate into certificate request, and then
Yeah,
as soon as the certificate request comes up, add the finalizer
Yeah.
so that certificate doesn't clean it up until we're done. Like it's going to clean it up, it's going to remove it, but the removal will take more time because of this.
multiple.
But I think it should work.
Right. And yeah, it should work, and it is working. Just to add, right? So based out of a certificate request, it is working. So basically, if at all there is a deletion timestamp that is coming on the certificate request, that's when we are making the retire call. And then once that's retired, we are removing the file. I think that's working.
Peter, you have your hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought we would care about certificate requests in that let's say generally you have the certificate object and that's issued to a secret, and you would watch maybe the certificate deletion event. When that object's deleted, then you would, make whatever call you need to, clean up whatever, and then optionally delete the secret in cluster, because I assume you want to clean up the secret as well, so you have like reconciled everything.
There's a different flag for it.
But the certificate requests will just disappear when you delete this, when the certificate goes, right? I don't. I as a user would only care about the one cert that's active, but maybe I'm missing something there.
Are you talking with the finalizer? Or are you talking with this edge triggered way, like where you suddenly the object was removed and you do an action?
I need to read up on the finalizer stuff to get.
So
my head around
finalizer
that.
is great because the object will, you can remove it. It's marked as deleted, but it's still there. And when there's a finalizer string on the object, the Kubernetes API server will not garbage collect it. So it lets you time if you are the one who added the finalizer string. It allows you to do your cleanup step whenever it can take 5 minutes. It doesn't matter, and then you remove the finalizer string, and the garbage collector removes the object. It's I don't know.
It's like a block. It's like
it's a blocker. Yeah.
Finalizer,
Yeah,
don't delete
it's
me.
a-
Blocks
Got you.
the.
It's a lock. Yeah.
Yeah. And that avoids the problem of edge
problem is,
triggering.
I think that
Kind of a thing.
Go ahead, Maël.
No, sorry, I was talking over someone else. I don't know when he's talking now. Sankalp,
can I-
go ahead. Oh, no, Tim then.
Okay, sorry. I think the problem with the certificate request resources is they are only used to create a certificate and a secret. So if you look at how cert-manager works, it creates a certificate request resource, and then it takes the signs piece from that certificate request and puts it in the secret. But then it doesn't really care about the certificate request anymore. So I think the certificate request will be cleaned up afterwards if you set like a limit, otherwise it will keep existing. And it's not really linked to what's in the secret anymore. So I would be very cautious to like use the removal of a certificate request to like as an indication of what happens with the certificate itself. That makes sense. I think it would be better to look at these secrets and say,
Yeah, that's right.
the secrets now has a new
So
value in it, so we have to
agreed.
remove the old one.
Actually, there's a small catch here. It is that, like on the Venafi side of the things, right? Every certificate is having its own path, right? It's called a policy, I guess. So all of that, those details, as well as like what is the issuer and what is the TPP and all, everything resides in the certificate request object. So I think that's having the source of truth as of today. So like in a certificate request object that's created for a Venafi issuer, we have a path of the certificate directly available, which we can work out of. And I'm thinking that that is a source of truth today as well. Like for a given certificate, it like very validly it back to the certificate in Venafi as well as the certificate request. But I think I can test having multiple certificate requests and like report back on how I see things working. So this is one side of the conversation, and the final thing that I just want to get a thought on is it okay if we have it as part of an issuer field, or is it okay if I have a, like for the previous issue itself, like can I have a additional field in the issuer CRD, or would it be better to have a flag? This flag would be specific to Venafi
Field much better.
as a field in the issuer.
That's my opinion.
I agree with field mainly because it means you can have per issuer config. Like, yeah, if you don't want one cleaning up, you do want cleaning up, then that's possible.
But the issuer contains all the information for the issuer to work, and the issuer is only involved with the certificate request. So I don't think it really belongs there.
Well, it's theoretically, but is that really a problem that we expand issuer as to being something like the certificate lifecycle manager of a certificate? It not only issues but also retires. I know the word issuer is really poor in this context, but it does. What's wrong with that?
I don't think we have a certificate lifecycle system right now, so we would have to develop that.
But that's actually like what he's proposing is to not only be responsible of creating, but also cleaning up. I don't know. That's
a big discussion. Then
I don't think I don't think it's far-fetched to add this to an issuer. Although I know, Tim, that you think it's not, like, it doesn't belong. I know this.
I mean, if you can do it in like a clean way, I think, but I don't see yet how to do that properly.
So maybe I'll try to come up with a draft pull request, and then I hope.
Do you mind, because maybe could you, if you can, could you share a design, just like a diagram of how this would be working, or a textual explanation of how you think to be doing, so that Tim can offer feedback before.
Yeah. Also, like, definitely, if you add this feature, I think this will require a design document. If you add lifecycle management.
But right now, without talking about the full document, just explaining what you mean to be doing, well, what you want to be doing, just in the technical part, implementation would really help.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'll work on it and get that.
Do you want to talk about the other issue? A pull request? Oh, that's the pull request you
Yes.
created.
Yeah, that's a yeah,
Oh.
correct. I
Oh, yes.
just need someone's help in getting it reviewed. I think Peter and Eric are really helpful in offering to review, but I'm kind of waiting for sometimes. I just wanted to see if you can get some attention on the issue.
Oh, nice. We have Peter here. So what's the next step on this PR? When you have some time, blah blah blah. Could you review?
It needs someone with more Go knowledge than me to give it a
Oh,
good
okay,
review.
okay.
As in,
Okay.
I like the look at the feature. One thing I will do is I'll go and try and just build your branch and run it and just kind of test it out a little bit in the background. And thank you for the PR contribution.
I think feature-wise, this looks good. I think I saw a PR previously where it also added support for
That's
CA
right.
bundles from config maps. But the
Config
problem with
map.
that is we right now don't have a cache with all the config maps in our controllers. So
That's
that would
right.
mean that we add more memory usage. So if we start with secrets only, I think that's a very good choice. So it's just the implementation that we have to check now, I think. We just have to make sure everything works as expected. But I agree with the change. Definitely.
And is it secrets or is it also config maps?
It's only a secret for now. The config map, we can have it as a different feature. And basically, there is a link. Like if you open the 5514, right? There is a link
This one?
issue on the vault side
one?
of the house as well. Yeah.
No, that's Venafi
Yes, that's the
Issuer,
one.
blah blah blah. That's the one? 5514.
Yeah, and it, like in that, yeah, at the bottom of that, there's a vault issue.
Vault.
We'll have to go there to go to the vault issue.
This one. Add option. Oh yeah, that's the same thing. Secret CA bundle. The CA bundle
to a
secret
config map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So both of these things can be addressed if we have a like shared informer for config map out of a different feature. But I think for this PR alone,
I guess you'll focus on just secrets right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Like
wow,
I said,
excellent
Maël,
work.
I think it's good that we start with secrets only because the config maps, we don't look at any of the config maps in our controller. So if we add this now, that means that we will have to cache all the config maps that we are interested in. It will be full new cache, a new informer that will have all the config maps in memory. Make sense? And also, Trust Manager now supports secrets as targets, so we can actually use secrets.
Yeah.
Uh,
so maybe I'll try to again reach out to people like after a few days to see if anyone can review it. Yeah, it's out there.
Okay, I guess we're done with these items, or do you have anything else, Sankalp?
It's on a different thing, but in general, right? So we have the make set up really well for cert-manager, and we have two things. One is to verify the linting, and another one is to kind of correct or update based on the link suggestions. So the verification for my code, it works really well. When I update it, it's updating the import statements for all of the other files, the order of imports. So should those be included as part of the pull, or can I just ignore those that fall out of my files, right? So I just want to get some thoughts. Because like right now, if we run the, like for any branch, if we run the make update lint or make suggest lint, something like that, it will change bunch of files
The-
right
In
out
general,
of the
I think we
existing
tried to keep the
package.
Go mod files in sync. So if you bump it in one Go mod, you should probably be bumped in all the Go mods.
Hmm.
I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. So okay. Got it. So
So the-
the thing is, the changes are getting suggested in all the Go files, the Go code files, not in the mod. Like I'm not talking about the lint configuration, but when I run the lint itself, right, it will suggest some changes to the code, and those suggestions are auto updated in the files. I'll just try to
Which
get the
linter?
example.
I'm confused. Which lint? Make lint?
Yeah, correct.
Ah, okay, that's surprising.
There is a GCI linter that we run, so we sort the imports in all the Go files. But normally that's all the Go files should be sorted in the repository. So only on new files that aren't sorted yet, this linter will make changes. If that's not the case,
Okay.
maybe you should
Mhm.
try to you can try to rebase on master. Maybe you have like an
Okay.
old
That's
base
perfect.
that you're using.
Mhm. Sure, I'll check it out.
Otherwise, it's a bug, and you might want to inform us through the Slack channel or something like that. We'll help you with fixing that.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, you can actually anyway. Like if it doesn't work, just post it in Slack. Cert-manager staff.
Mhm.
You can tag me. I'll help you.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. That's all. I will do.
Has anyone else things they want to share? Or should we move to the most boring part, which is the, I don't know, sweep issues under the carpet, something. Sweep issues, CI test grid. Can anyone start talking about something interesting? So that I don't need to open this page.
How's the
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask. I remember I missed the last meeting, so apologies. We were talking about compatibility with unit test and 130. Is that all complete and ready to go?
130. What's that?
Kubernetes 1.30.
Ah, 30. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I do. Oh, Ash was working on. Tim, do you have? Have we updated? Do we have a kind image for this?
Yes. I think the tests are running. The Go dependencies have been updated. So I think everything is up to date everywhere. Even all the sub-projects have it, as far as I can remember.
Just had a pull request test against 130, so I'm pretty sure it's there.
Great to hear. I'll start deploying it through my clusters, which I'm upgrading to 130, and I'll let you know if I come across any issues on that one. But if your unit tests are good, then it gives me confidence in it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Robin. Okay, so let's move on to the test grid then. Or you know what? I want to remove this entirely. It's so painful to have to go through this. at least to me. Or should I let Tim do this for me? Do you want to share your screen, Tim? Because you're so much better at discovering this, understanding what it means.
Well, I don't think there are many problems, even though everything is red right now. Let me share. Can you stop
Yeah.
sharing?
I don't know what I should be looking at. I'm really bad.
Oh, you want me to share my screen, or you
Yeah,
want to...
because I don't know. I'm confused.
Okay, I think you have to stop so I can share. Okay, thanks. All right, I think you can see my screen now. So let's see. Hard to fully understand or see what's wrong right now because there is a trivia alert for an Azure library that called the CV. So we are trying to fix that. Adam is actually working on that. But I think the interesting parts or the interesting items that we want to look at are the flaky ones. Those are the items that actually have errors and should normally be green all the time. I'm not sure if it's like a good way to fully see what items come back often, but I can kind of go through the last version and see if there are any patterns that we see. So here, for example, we see flakes with feature gates disabled in the end-to-end test, and then these 3 end-to-end tests on top, and on master, we see feature gate disabled is actually okay. These 3 have a flake. So I guess we can kind of start looking at these items.
That's nice because it's been a long time since I've cared. And I'm glad you're showing me what to look at.
Well, I haven't found anything yet, but I think we see here, for example, that half of the items are failing, and they all seem to be Acme related tests. So in this case, there was an Acme issue.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's a one instance, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, I think most of them are one instance.
Oh, never mind. So when there's one instance, then I should care.
Ultimately, I think we want to get rid of all the flakes. Some of them are hard to get rid of, I think. And we did some effort in the past to get rid of some of the flakes. But for example, this just stopped at some point, which is hard to debug, right? So let me, like, there's no information here. Also, like, there's no auto information. There's some job history. No, job history is the previous run. So this totally failed without giving us any information. So it's very hard to figure out what happened here. You could look at the logs of the Kubernetes cluster, maybe. Here there's also failure. So this seemed to be a context deadline exceeded error.
Oh, is it because the timeout is too short? Like too close to the actual runtime? How much time it takes? 20 minutes.
So these are also Acme items, so that's interesting. Here we have all these Acme issues, and here we also have 2 Acme items. And I expect that, yeah, we also have some timeout issues here. So maybe this is the same error that kind of occurs only later in this case. That's what we see here.
We're not using the live Acme APIs, right? We're using the small boulder.
Yes.
Pebble.
Pebble, yeah. And that might actually be interesting to look at, Pebble, because I think we are still on some kind of old version of Babel for some reason. And I tried to upgrade that version at some point, and the test didn't pass, so I left it at the old version. So maybe that's step one to try to fix this Acme flakiness, is to look at those, look at upgrading Babel actually. So, okay, is there anything else here interesting? Same thing, I think. I mean, we don't have to record all this stuff. I think it's kind of boring.
Yeah,
this
that's
section.
true. Do you want me to stop the recording? It doesn't matter
Yes.
now. Oh.